What do you say, my Facebook friends? You know it. Number 8 in your scorecard, number 1 in your heart. Albert Sugar Bear Barbieri. You know it. When you see me like this, it's story time. So let's get right to it. I promised I would share a crazy time in my life, in my late teens, early 20s. And my finding myself in this legendary game they called the Ziganet game, held in South Philadelphia. At the time, it was 1979. It was a crazy time in my late teens, early 20s, growing up in South Philly. A lot of you probably are wondering, how, Sugar, how did you get mixed up in a game like this? It was infamous, this game. I'm with the most fiercest, fastest gamblers in all of South Philly. They're grown men, and I'm 20 years old, and I'm right in the thick of a serious money game. And just to give you a little background, I came from a broken home. My mom and dad were divorced when I was an infant, and I had a great childhood. My father was in my life. He lived a mile away from me and my mom and brother, and I lose my mom at 18 years old. So there was no direction given to me in my teenage years. After my mom died, me and my father, we butted heads. I was going down a road he didn't approve of, and for me it was just playing baseball. I went to college a couple years because all I wanted to do was play professional baseball and become a major leaguer. And so, you know, growing up in the inner city, especially South Philly, hanging out in corners and stuff like that, and gambling was a way of life. And it was for me, at least, in my late teens, early 20s. So let me give everybody an idea about the Ziganet game. A lot of people heard about it, but they don't understand what kind of game it was. It definitely was not a poker game or anything like that. I wrote down some fast facts about it so I can run through it so it don't take up time. All right. First of all, the Ziganet game was Chickie Narducci's game. Nobody in the city was allowed to spread the Ziganet game anywhere. You couldn't ask. There was no permission granted. It was Chickie's game. And at this particular time in 1979, it was run at the 7th and Annan Streets. It probably was running in the 50s and the 60s, but I have no clue whose game it was or where it was held. So that's what I gather. You know, this game started on a Saturday around noontime, and it went all the way through Monday sometime, whenever it ended. Like I said, it wasn't a poker game, and the Ziganet game came from the old country of Italy, and it just some way found its way over here. That's what I was told. Like I said, it wasn't a poker game, so no cheating could happen, would not happen, and there was just no way to cheat, as I show you a little bit how the game was played. So it wasn't like that. The game was all about luck. There was no skill involved, and the game was about bankroll and aggression and aggressive betting. Okay. The game was dealt with a single deck of cards with the 8s, 9s, and 10s removed, and I'll explain to you why. The game was a 10-seated game with the 10 men that took their places at the table. They were called handmen. These men were these men were guys with bankrolls. You couldn't come in the game and have scarce bankroll, okay? The guys that were handmen had money, unlimited money. The other participants that were there in the game, they were called point men, and the point men would stand behind the table, behind the handmen, and they can take any action of the handman action if offered to them, anyone. And the object of the game really was, if you were the dealer, you would want all the other players' cards to show up before yours. And I'll give you an example of that. I'm going to show you that in a second. But keep in mind, this was a game where you could just not show up at the door. If you were a stranger, you couldn't get in this game. This game, people came from corners, hangouts that were known, guys like from 10th and Carpenter, that crew, 6th and 7th and Morton, and them guys from that neighborhood, and Chiefy's Pool Room, and surrounding areas in South Philly. And you had to be known. So forget about being a stranger and coming to that game. If you didn't know somebody in that game, then they were associate of somebody else. Okay, so that's the way that was run. It was just something out of The Godfather. You remember the scene with Clemenza with the big pot of gravy in the kitchen? They had gravy, meatballs, sausages, food galore. It was carte blanche. You could never go hungry in that game. So I wrote some names down that are legendary, are synonymous to the Ziganet game. I like to mention them to you because, all due respect, these guys I'm going to mention are, first of all, this is my story and what I experienced. And these gentlemen were just that. They were gentlemen. They were classy gamblers. They were fearless. When it came to gambling, they were kind. They were generous. They would help you. If you needed help, they liked you, they would help you. So let me just give you some of these legendary names that made up from what my memory of the Ziganet game. And mine was short-lived, and that's part of the story and everything. Guys like Frankie Steyer, Scotty Marone, Pretty Boy Chaz, the guy who introduced me to the Ziganet game, Frankie Baldino, Nicky Rucci, Johnny Cupcakes, who had a smile on his face 24 hours a day, Bobby Miller, Banji, Blonde Babe. Blonde Babe was cool. He was so cool. Buster Casasanto, what a great guy. He knew most of these guys all knew my father, and my father knew all these guys. So it also helped being the son of Blizz. You know what I mean? Here I was 20 years old in a game like this. Just, so having that going for me was, I guess, the, ace up for me. Richie DiPietro, I don't need to give his nickname. Everybody knows who Richie was. Richie Barone, Frankie LaRosa, Nunzio Cardo, old man Tony Foglia. They call him Tony Fogey. Man, he was so gentle and sweet. Hey, Sugar Bear, behave yourself today, he told me. Because sometimes I was a clown. Willie Hop, Poncho, Joe Pepe, Georgie Stump. Urban legend has it, Nick the Plumber from around Carpenter Street. This is how crazy this game was. He went in there on a Saturday with a $20 bill, and by the time Monday came, he had $200,000. And that's a fact. People can vouch for that. Chickie's brother-in-law, Fatty, he ran the game. He was usually there later in the day through the wee early morning of that night. So Fatty was a great guy, dear friend of mine too. And they had dealers. The dealers, Frank Santoro, a.k.a. Pistol. He was one dealer. Johnny Palumbo was another. And another guy by the name of Mike. I think they called him Father Mike. He had white hair. They were the three dealers I remember. And so this is what this game consists of. Just your legendary South Philly gamblers. And they were just great guys. And, you can run into them down the casino as the casinos opened up, and if you needed a favor, if you went broke, had a crap game, blackjack game, and you needed gas to get home, they wouldn't hesitate to help you. You know what I mean? And so I know that for a fact because a few guys on that list helped me. So anyway, let me give you a quick little lesson about the Ziganet game. So the Ziganet game, like I said, is played with a deck of cards, and H through 7. And like I said, the 8s, 9s, and 10s are taken out, so it's Jack, Queen, King. So there's 10 cards of each suit. And I'm guessing in my memory how they figured out who was going to deal first. Like they probably high carded. It's not important. So let me also say this thing. This game could not have been run without the dealer's box. This dealer's box was only one of a kind and only one of them. It was a box that was the size of a box like this where a deck of cards come in. It was stainless steel metal. It was handmade. It had 4 legs on each, so it would sit on the table in a little slant. And it was made so when the cards, after the dealer did the shuffling, it would be open face, and the deck would slide in, or from the back or front, I can't remember. And it'd be in there, and it'd hold it tight to where, and the way the dealer dealt is he had to get permission from the handman or the dealer to pull the card, and he would pull the card. And because this box kept it snug, you could never have an error. You could never try to deal without the box, and cards would be shown like that, like by accident. It would just ruin the game. So this box was instrumental. And just to let everybody know, this is one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in South Philly. This box has disappeared. Nobody knows where it's at. So whoever has this box, you have a piece of South Philly history. You really do. It's been missing for close to 36 years. Anyway, so that's that. Now, let me show you real quick how this game is played and why it was notorious for winning big money, okay? And like I said, it was dealt counterclockwise, from right to left. So when whoever's designated the first dealer, this was his card, and it would be pulled right, and that would go right in front, and the dealer would have the box, and it would be like that. So now, the handman would come out betting. Now, first guy in order, it would be a queen. He'd come out betting 200, 300, sometimes 500, and the other handman would have to cover it. And usually they have the bankroll to cover it at this point. So let's just say he lays 300 down. Lay the 300, boom. The next guy in order, 7, boom. It would usually be the same denomination, and so forth and so on. All right, now the next guy would be up, boom, a deuce, right? So I can show you this. Let me tilt my camera a little bit so you can see it. Okay, a deuce. Now, by this time, the handman's got, if he's betting 300 a card, he's got 900 laid out. So the object of the game is to make these cards as they're being pulled before your card comes up. And the longer you go, you're piling up money, and you're accumulating money, and you're pressing. Some people take down. Some people are faster than others. Some people don't take nothing down, and money piles up. The object of the game is, the miracle is to make a niner. It's called a niner. So there's 10 cards in the deck, all of the suits, and the dream is for your card not to show up, so you make all the other cards. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. When the dealer gets, maybe his card comes up, the next guy in line takes over the deal. There could be 5 cards left in the deck that are live. Other cards, there's duplicate cards come out, they're dead, they put them on the side, and it just goes, and that's just the way the game is run. It's just an aggressive accumulation of money piling up, and as you get down to the last 2 cards, whether it's you're finishing up, you're trying to make a niner, or wherever you were. And by that time, when you get down to the last 2 cards, sometimes the money's on the table. It's insane. It's just like total insanity. And that's the way the game is played. So now, here I am. I'm 20 years old. I'm in the game. And it was a late Saturday night. And it's around 2:30 in the morning. And in walks a gentleman, and right away, this guy comes in, trench coat, tall, collar up, trench coat, and right away, attention was all on him. It seemed like he demanded the attention in the room. People were saying, "How you doing, Frank?" Now, keep in mind, I have no clue who Frank Sindone is at this time. I don't know who he is, what he does, nothing. I know nothing. All I know is people are saying hello, and like I said, it seemed like he demanded their attention in the room. As he comes in, I happen to be up starting to deal the hand. I'm the dealer. And Pistol, Frank Santoro, a.k.a. Pistol, he's in the box. He's the dealer. He turns to him and he says, who's dealing? Who's up? They would say, up meaning like, who's up to deal? And Pistol said, the kid is. I'm right across from Pistol, so he points at the kid's up. So Sindone grabs a chair, pulls it next to me. I remember distinctly $3,000 in my hand. And he takes the money out of my hand. Again, just like Salvi Testa story. Takes the money out of my hand. What do you got there, kid? And he counts it. And he counts and he says, sit back, kid. You got a third, he says to me. As he tells me that, I'm sitting in a direction where I'm on Frank's right. And in my direction is Fatty. Fatty's there. He's on a step ladder. They would watch the game from a step ladder or a ladder so they can watch the game. And I look at Fatty like I'm confused. Like, what the fuck's going on? And Fatty, mimics to me, calm down, just take it easy, just relax. So I'm like, okay. Well, we start. And I remember when Frank took my money, $3,000, he put in his pocket, he pulled out a 10-pack. And as the cards come out the first end, he's firing away like a nickel a card. And this is like, nickel a card is pretty strong. And we're laying out cards, third card, 40's laying out, another nickel. Before you know it, boom, we make one, and he ain't taking nothing down. He's taking, if he made the first card that he put out, whatever it was, he's got 1,000. Now he'd even add, because there's 3 more cards. He would just add, maybe make 1,000 more, sell it. He'd tell Spickle, just get it. And that was the dealer's job, to get the money covered. And long and behold, we're on our way, and it's getting serious. And at one point, we got about maybe 4 cards left, and now 4,000 a card, 5,000 a card, and we're at a point where it can't get covered. And it's the dealer's job to sell what's left. And there was a time where we sat there, and Frank Sindone made it very clear. He said, Pistol, you ain't pulling a fucking card until this money gets covered, if we got to sit here all night. Because he said something in the effect that, like, I give action when I'm here, so I expect in return. So people are walking in from the streets. It's 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 in the morning, and Pistol's got maybe 1,200 of each card he's got to sell, and somebody would come in, like, say, Joe from so, hey, Joe, we got this, you want this, you sell this, yeah, I'll take 300. But still, Pistol ain't pulling a card until that money's covered, and Frank made it very clear, Sindone, that it ain't happening. We're going to sit here all night. And it was intense. It was very, very intense. It was, for me, it was radical to watch this go on. And at this point, I'm saying, this guy ain't answering. Nobody's answering Sindone back. No, everybody's obeying his orders. And we sat there at one point for 5-7 minutes. You sit 5-7 minutes to see how long that is. Long and behold, this went on for 40 minutes. Finally, we get down to the last 2 cards, 1 card at a time. We make the hand, we make a 9er. Long and behold, it's like 40,000 total winnings. Pistol's counting the money. And all of a sudden, Fatty says, hey, Frank, you know whose kid that is? Sindone goes, no, who? Fatty goes, that's Blizzard's kid. Sindone turns around to me, looks me dead in the face with his 2 fingers, pokes me in the chest. You're Blizzard's kid? You tell him Frank Sindone said hello. All right, well, I still don't know who Frank Sindone is. All right, so now I'm happy as a kid on Christmas morning, right? I make a score. That's 40,000 profit now. So I get a third of that. So now, next day, I'm still living with my father, 19 Mifflin. This is the mistake I make. I tell him, yo, Dad, some guy, Frank Sindone, said hello. My father's like I'm shocked. Like, what? Where did you see him for him to say hello to me? And without me asking, he goes, are you fucking going to that Ziganet game? Yeah, all right. Now my father and I bucked heads. I'm turning down every city job, state job he can get to me, give to me, and so anyway, that was Tuesday, Wednesday. A couple of days went by. It could have been like middle of the week. I'm at 20th and Snyder, around off the corner of 20th Snyder. There was a car wash, Danny's Car Wash. It was a garage where they hand wash your car. And I'm in there getting my car washed, and I run into a guy named Spike. And Spike was who I just happened to kind of, not meet formally, but see him at the Ziganet game. He was a big guy, be impressionable to you. I mean, drove a beautiful Eldorado, and he came over talking to me. He knew I made a score, this and that. And the $64 million question comes out, and hey, Sugar, hey, why don't you lend me $500? I'll give it to you Saturday at the Ziganet game. So I'm like, okay, no problem. Here you go. Figure, he's playing the Ziganet game. He's got to have money, but after the car wash, I go up to the pool room. And this is the pool room when it was on 16th and Passyunk above the MAB paint store. And Fatty at that time, I believe, had a piece of the pool room. And he's up there, and I walk up. Hey, Fatty, what's up, Sugar? I said, you ain't going to believe who I just ran into at the car wash. Who? I said, Spike. Spike, Sugar, please don't tell me you gave him any money. I went, what? What the fuck? You got a crystal ball? What do you mean? Of course I gave him money. He asked me. Sugar, don't you know about Spike? No, Fatty. What am I supposed to know about Spike? I don't know him for 2 seconds. He says he's one of the biggest con men on the East Coast. I went, what? Yeah. He goes, rumor has it he took Robert Conrad for a ride, the guy from Wild Wild West. I'm like, Fatty, can you get back from me, please, my 500? He goes, I'll talk to Chickie. And so I said, Fatty, listen, he asked me to go around 6T Bar on 6th and Morton around 6 o'clock. He had something to talk to me about coins. He said, Sugar, listen to me. You go, don't bring no money with you. Hear what he has to say, but just tell him you're not interested. Okay, so I go, 6T Bar. I'm waiting, around 6 p.m. He comes walking in, comes walking right to me. First words out of his mouth, you didn't even give me a chance to see if I was going to pay you back. I said, Spike, I just want my money back, please. Obviously, Fatty went to Chickie. Chickie, I found out late, told him, what are you doing? This is Blizzard's kid. You're going to give him the money back. So the next day, up the pool room, I see Fatty. Fatty says, here's 200 Chickie gave me to give this to you. Stay away from Spike. He'll get the other 300 from you, for you. I said, okay. Well, Saturday comes. I'm at the Ziganet game. And Chickie wasn't there yet. It was early in the start of the day, like noontime, and Spike is there. And I see he's got money in his hand, and we had a few words. And this is how I got stupid. I'm 20 years old. I'm stupid. I'm a dum-dum. And one word led to another, and before you know it, I got to make a beeline to the front door because I'm getting hit, kicked from the young guys from the neighborhood there, and I'm overwhelmed and a little shocked and scared, and I'm running through, and I didn't get really hurt, but I'm getting banged around, and I have to get through one door, then I get to the other door that's locked. Jeff, the doorman, an old man, the door's locked, and I get there, I'm in the corner, and they're pounding, kicking me, and all of a sudden, I hear them. All right, let him out, get him out, and let him up, get him out, and they threw me out. I get up, I peed my pants. I gotta get up. I was like, shocked and scared, So I get out of there and I go down to 7th and Washington to a payphone. There's a payphone on the corner. I call my father and I tell him. I said, Dad, I can't believe what happened. I don't know why it happened. He goes, where are you? I said, 7th and Washington, payphone. He goes, you wait right there. I'll be right there. 10, 15 minutes later, my father drives around, grabs me, comes around. We park around 7th and N, and I sit on the step right across the door from the corner home where the game was run, 7th and N. I sit there. My father goes into the Ziganet game. A couple minutes later, my father comes walking out with Chickie. And he's got a look on his face, my father, like he just wants to smack me right in the mouth. And he comes over with Chickie and my father. Go ahead, Chickie, tell the imbecile what he did. Chickie looks at me, Blizz, little Blizz, he said, listen, I can't have you come in my game and disrupt the game and cause a scene. I told you, didn't I tell you? Didn't you get the word from Fatty, stay away from Spike, I'll handle it? I said, yeah, Chickie did. Well, you just can't do this in my game. He goes in his pocket, Chickie, pulls out the 300. He says, here's the 300 from him. Leave him alone. Stay away from him. Okay? As the conversation is going to end, right, my father says, Chick, hold on. Chickie says, yeah, Blizz. He says, I want you to bar him from your game. Chickie's like a little taken back. He goes, really? That's what you want? You want me to bar him? My father goes, yeah. Chickie looks me right in my face. Blizzard, he said, he called me Blizzard this time. He said, Blizzard, listen, you are no longer allowed in my game, ever. You understand me? I said, I understand, Chickie. He goes, all right. It's all right, Blizz. They shook hands with my father, Chickie, and that was the end of that. And that was the end of my short-lived Ziganet experience, from meeting Sindone, from him telling me to say hello to my father, and that's what went down with that. And it was all over the city that, you know, Sugar made a score. I made a couple scores in 3 weeks. I made a couple niners, believe it or not. And what happened was the ending of the story. It was great. I'm up the pool room a couple days later, in the middle of the week. I'm in the pool room in the back. And so, Sugar, somebody hollers, Blonde Babe wants you downstairs. Blonde Babe? Blonde Babe? I mean, I know Blonde Babe. I grew up with Ralphie, Joey, Anthony, 16, Wolf, the playground, Garen Rick. I mean, I've been in company with Blonde Babe in the Ziganet game, so run down there. Like I said, Blonde Babe was a nice guy, cool. I get down there, he's with his friend Joe Lamar. Joe Lamar and him were real tight. And the Blonde Babe says, Sugar, we want you to come down to Atlantic City with us, shoot dice. We need some lucky money. Because it was known that I was running good at the Ziganet game. I said, yeah, I'm in. I'm down with that. He goes, all right, what are you doing such a night? I said, nah. He goes, all right, be here at 10 o'clock. I said, how much money do I need? He said, what do you want to bring? I said, 3,000 good enough? He goes, yeah, that's fine. So I take 3,000 with me. We get to the crap table. And I believe it was Bally's, I want to say. And Bombay throws a 10-pack on the table, and I got the dice. And this is my first crap game lesson. I never seen anything like this. And I realized how strong this was of him, the way he bet it, as I got to know dice. But I knew a little bit about it, and I never seen a guy get to the max on the box numbers that fast. And this shot I'm making each box number one at a time, to where I think he came out 500 on the box numbers, of course, 20, you know. And he got to 5,000 instantly, didn't take nothing down. And at one point, when we're loaded for bear, and the dice got held up, where something's going on at the end of the table, I'm aware of what's going on. I see he's maxed out. And I look back to my right, to Joe Lamar, Babe's on my left. And Joe Lamar goes, it's all gravy now, Sugar, do it. I get the dice, and as I'm ready to roll it, I fumble the dice. The one dice goes down the end, the other one a couple feet in front of me. They call it 7 out. Oh my God, 7 out. Babe had a look on his face. He picks it, racks up the chips. We get out of there. And I remember him walking out. He goes, you're never going to have an opportunity like that, Sugar. And we cashed out. I had made a few hundred, like, you know, because he had it down to a little profit was made, but everything was up there, like 20-something thousand. God knows how much if I shoot for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And that was my experience of being at the Ziganet game with the best-known gamblers from South Philadelphia, and I'm 20 years old. And so that's it, gang. That's the way it is. So in closing, I just want to remind everybody that back in 1985, the Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Miami Dolphins, whoever had in the block pool numbers 49ers 8 and Miami 6, we all won 3/4 of all the cash. So for all you block pools and all everybody betting, good luck tomorrow in the Super Bowl. All right. I hope you enjoyed it. Just another fascinating chapter growing up in South Philly. Where else would you want to grow up? South Philly.